Okay. Have a good night, Dave. Okay. So we're up to the Mishnah. And we have our and we call it the thinking caps on here. It's not difficult. It's just cheshbon because it's kal v'chomers. So if anybody doesn't like kal v'chomers, tonight's daf is not for you. Right? But right, we got up to the Mishnah, yeah? Yeah. Okay, so Zok the Mishnah. Chof Dalar Beis, about 10 lines up from the bottom. Yeah. So shor hamazik b'rishus hanizik. If you have a shor that damage in rishus hanizik, ketzad. So how does that work? Nogach, nogaf, noshach, robatz, bot. If it gored, pushed, bit, squashed, or whatever, crouched, and kicked, right? Rishus harabim and Rishus harabim shalom chatzin nezek. That's what we call keren. Right? You pay chatzin nezek the first 3 times, and the 4th time you become a, what do you call it? The 4th time you become a muad. Rishus hanizik. But what about if it's done? That's if it's done in Rishus harabim. If it's done in Rishus hanizik in the guy's property, Reb Tarfon Omer nezek shalom. Reb Tarfon says it's nezek shalom. V'chachamim oimrim chatzin nezek. Chachamim say it's chatzin nezek. All right, we had Reb Tarfon a few times already. So Reb Tarfon holds that in the Rishus HaYachid and the Rishus HaNizik, there's no such thing as Chatzi Nezek. It's Nezek Shalom. And Reb Chachamim say no, it's still Chatzi Nezek. I mean, according to Chachamim, it's the same. In Rishus HaRabim and Rishus HaNizik, it's the same. Reb Tarfon. So Reb Tarfon said he has a raya that you should pay Nezek Shalom for Keren. Right? Rishus harabim we know because it says ubir b'stei acher. It has to be done in somebody else's field. So we know that Shane and Regel, right, don't have to pay when it's in Rishus harabim. Right? So if your dog goes and chews on somebody's thing in the street, you're potter. Right? Even though we ended up saying that Shane is not really teeth, so whatever, but he did some form of shame with that, right? So we're makel in Rishus harabim that it doesn't have to pay, but hichmer aleim Rishus hanizik l'shalom nezek shalom. So we're machmer that in the Rishus hanizik you have to pay the nezek shalom, right? So again, shein and regel in Rishus harabim are potter. In Rishus hayachid they pay full damages. So makom shehichmer al kerem Rishus harabim l'shalom chatzi nezek. So in Rishus harabim where you pay chatzi nezek for Keren, so if you're paying Chatzi Nezek, so Avada in the Rishus HaNizik, you should pay full. Right? And it did Nachmer Lo Rishus HaNizik L'Shalim Nezek Shalim. Isn't it a Kal V'Chomer that we should be Machmer in the Rishus HaNizik pay Nezek Shalim? Basically, what it's saying is that seems like Keren is stricter than Shein and Regel, right? Because Shein and Regel are Potter Rishus HaRabim, Keren pays half. So then if Shein and Regel are Chayiv in Rishus HaYachid, so then for sure Keren is going to be Chayiv. Right? So Amrulai, they told him back. Dayoy lavoi min hadin lias kenidan. We have this rule called dayoy. Right? Dayoy means you can only learn out from the Kal V'Chomer. A nidan of the Kal V'Chomer is what you're learning it from. So you could only learn out from the kal to the chomer. You can only learn out the max of what the kal is. You can't go past that, right? So meaning, what's the Keren pays how much? Chatzi nezek. So you want to learn out from Keren? You can't say, oh, Keren is stronger than Shein and Regel, and Shein and Regel pay nezek shalim. So therefore, you're going to go say Keren. You're going to say that Keren, which is stronger, has to pay nezek shalim. No, the maximum you're going to get out of it is chatzi nezek. Ma b'rishus haram chatzi nezek. All you're going to say is in rishus haram you pay chatzi nezek. Rishus hanizik chatzi nezek. right? In Rishus HaNizik, you pay a Chatzi Nezik, meaning you're learning out this Kal V'Chomer, the maximum you could get out of is Chatzi Nezik. If you go past Chatzi Nezik, then that's not Daya. Daya means it's enough to learn out just the amount that you're trying to learn out from, not more than that. Meaning, let's say, what was an example? Let's say you have a guy who's a good ball player and he earns $1,000 a game, and you have a guy who's clearly much better, right? So you want to say that because he's much better, he should earn $2,000 a game, right? That's what you say. If this guy has a 300 batting average, he gets $1,000 a game. So a guy that has a 400 batting average should get $2,000. Daya tells you no. All it can tell you is that the better player can get 1,000. It can't tell you more than that.
But you have that. You have Nezek Shalom already in Rishus HaYachid.
Right, but you're trying to learn out from Keren, and Keren is only Chatzi Nezek.
You're trying to learn out to Keren, not from Keren.
So 1 second. So Naftali, he's going to change it. Very good. He's going to change it. But right now, he's saying the way it's being set up this way, right? You're learning out from Keren. So it only tells you Chatzi Nezek. It's not going to tell you Nezek Shalom. Right? Like he says, yeah.
Once he says he doesn't hold the daya, he holds it. You can just do whatever you want. Why not just say you should pay kefil double? Why only Nezek Shalom? Why stop at Nezek Shalom? Where do we get the Gedarim? Once you've blown past whatever you're learning it out from, why not just say you should pay kefil? Where's the Gedarim to that it should be Nezek Shalom? I mean, there's no Gedarim here at this point.
You can't create a knas.
I'm not creating knas.
He's saying what's the machma?
It's automatically a knas if it's more than the value.
I'm just saying there's no gather here. Dai would be the
maximum. The maximum.
Why the maximum? Just make him pay whatever you. What he's learning out from a din that says you pay Chatzi Nezek. He's saying you should pay more. Maybe it should only be 3/4. Nezek Shalom then. There's no Gedarim at this point. Why Nezek Shalom? Why not 3/4? Why not 90%?
3/4 would also be a knas. Anything other than Nezek Shalom is a knas.
Chatzi Nezek is knas or palganiska knas or palganiska b'mayna. It's not so pashit. But I'm just saying it's a knas is not an answer necessarily.
Why? How do you create a new knas midiraisa from a Kal V'Chaimer?
It's not a knas according to some. I don't know what you mean. Your teretz is only according to what that is. So according to the ones it's not.
Okay, but what's that? Let's see, because the Gemara is going to discuss.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but we'll see. Let's see, because the Gemara, we're going to have lots of Kal V'Chaimers tonight. But we'll see if there is a maximum or not.
Also, do you dunk Kal V'Chaimers from a knas, Yoshi?
That's what I was going to ask.
You want to tie yourself within that or what? I'm just saying the star of it doesn't.
We're tying ourselves into knots tonight. Let me tell you.
I know, but I'm just asking on the smar of it. Like, where does he like? There's no Gedarim when it comes to his Kal V'Chaimer then.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. The smar is a little off.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. So, anyways, that's the way he learns it. So, Amar Lem Afani now on Talmud Aleph. So he says back to them. Reb Tarfon said back to the Chachamim, Lo Yoden Keren mi Keren. I'm not learning out Keren from Keren. Ani Yoden Keren mi Regel. I'm learning out Keren mi Regel. Now we spin the Kal V'Chaimer. Uma b'makom shehakal ala shein v'ala regel b'rishus harabim. In a place that we're makel on shein and regel b'rishus harabim. Hichmir b'Keren, we're machmer in Keren. See, before he was learning it from Keren. Now he's saying, no, now I'm learning it from Shein and Regel. In Rishus Harabim, Shein and Regel pays Nezek Shalom. Potter, I'm sorry. Right? Shein and Regel and Rishus Harabim are Potter. But Keren is Chayev.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Makom shehichmer ala Shein v'ala Regel Rishus HaNizik. Right? But a Makom where we're machmer on Shein and Regel Rishus HaNizik, ain't it in Shenachmer b'Keren. See here, he changed up the Kal V'Chaimer, Right? He's saying in Rishus Harabim you're potter on Shein and Regel, but you're chayiv in Karen. So in Rishus HaYachid, where you're chayiv in Shein and Regel, what do you pay? Nezek Shalim. So then Karen should also pay Nezek Shalim. Amrullah, I said back to him, it's still the same thing. You can only learn out the max. Because the Rishus Harabim is Chatzi Nezek.
Please.
Rishus HaNizik, Chatzi Nezek. So Rishus
Yomi, you got
HaNizik
mute.
is what?
Someone has to mute.
All right. So Rishus HaNizik, Chatzi, Rishus Harabim, Chatzi Nezek, just like Rishus Harabim, the max you're paying is Chatzi Nezek. So too, Rishus HaNizik is Chatzi Nezek. Okay, so that's the two ways to learn it. Fine. Then Ali Gemara is just going to deal with Daya. If you're Reb Tarfon, so it seems like from our Mishnah, Reb Tarfon doesn't care about Daya, and he says you can learn out of Kavachim whatever you want. Go like Akiva was saying, just go max out, right? Max out whatever you want to max out. And then the Chacham say no, you can't. You can only learn out the maximum of the din that you're learning from. For Reb Tarfon, Leslie Daya, and does Reb Tarfon not hold of Daya? Daya deraisu. Daya is deraisa, right? So now we need a little background. Miriam said lashon hara on Moshe Rabbeinu, right? And Memela, she was punished, and the Rabban Shalom wanted to punish her for a long time. And with negotiations with Moshe Rabbeinu, they got it to 7 days, right? So there really was a kavachomer there. The Tanya that we learned in the Brayso, midin kavachomer, ketzad, right? Meaning, how do you see Daya? Yomi Hashem al Moshe, and Hashem said to Moshe, an interesting pasuk, right? It almost sounds like they're having a regular human conversation, right? Moshe again is davening that she should not get punished, even though he was the recipient of the lashon hara, but he was asking that she does not get punished, and Hashem saying she has to get punished. If her father would spit in her face, wouldn't she be embarrassed for 7 days? Right? So Memela, that's where the 7 days comes from. That the Klal Yisrael had to wait for her. Kavachaymer l'shchina arba asayim. That if you're going to say a kavachaymer, is going to tell you that if the Shechina is upset at you, then it's 14 days. Meaning, Hashem was telling Moshe Rabbeinu that for 7 days you have busha from your father, so you're going to be embarrassed 7 days. So then that means that the Shechina, which is more embarrassing, should be 14 days. Now Taisus says, right, because here Akiva, you see why 14? Maybe it's 10, maybe it's 25. Right, so we're picking 14 because it seems like embarrassments come in sevens. That's what it seems. The same way the embarrassment from the father is 7 days, so therefore embarrassment from the is from Hashem is 7 days from the Shechina. Anyways, so that's what you would think, right? So Tam Eladaya Loviminadin Lias Kanidon. So it's Daya Loviminadin Lias Kanidon, meaning Hashem made a kavachomer. He said that if she'd be embarrassed from her father, if he spit on her, she'd be embarrassed 7 days. So for me also should be 7 days. Why? It should be 14 days. Elamai. Why isn't it 14 days? Because Daya. Right? That's what we've been saying. Right? Meaning you can't say, if you're learning out from a father spitting, that would be busha for 7 days. So then you can say, oh, so from Hashem, there's also busha of what? So you would think it should be double. Right? But we're saying no, die, love him and Lias Kanidan, the max you can learn out is 7. Right? So you see, it's a deraisa. That's from Hashem's conversations with it's with Moshe Rabbeinu. So when it says ki les ledaye heicha de mirva kavachaymer, heicha de loy mirva kavachaymer is ledaye. So now we're saying a big yesod, right? That when don't we say dayo? That's if you're going to slug up the kavachaymer. If you're not going to slug up the kavachaymer, did I just say it backwards? When he doesn't hold of dayo, when it's going to slug up the kavachaymer. Meaning, if your dayo is going to say, that it's going to eliminate the Kal V'chomer, then we don't say it. But if it's not going to eliminate the Kal V'chomer, then we do say it. It says Ki lesle dayoi heichad de mifrach Kal V'chomer. Heichad de loy, meaning mifrach means we ask on the Kal V'chomer and it's no longer going to exist. Heichad de loy mifrach Kal V'chomer is le dayoi. But once we don't ask on the Kal V'chomer, then there is dayoi. Right? Hasam. So what's going on here? Hasam shiva de shchina like sivi. It doesn't say that there's 7 days for the shchina. There's a busha for the shchina. Also Kal V'chomer. I see our Beisar comes along the Kal V'chomer, and that should tell us that should be 14, right? Because we said if there's busha from a human is 7 days, so busha from the Shechina should be 14. Asa dayoy apik shiva v'oiki shiva. It takes away 7 and puts it on 7. Aval hacha, but here chatzi nezek siv. Here it says chatzi nezek. Right? V'asa Kal V'chomer v'aisi chatzi nezek achrina v'nasa nezek shalom. The Kal V'chomer is coming to tell you that we're going to move the chatzi nezek into a nezek shalom. Either rash the daya efrach le Kal V'chomer. If you're going to darshan the daya, you're going to shlag up the Kal V'chomer. Right? Meaning, by Hashem again, if you're going to say you can daya, so the max you're going to learn out is 7 days that Miriam had to be mechutz lamachna. Right, so the 7 days. It doesn't say in the Torah anywhere that there's 7 days. So we're learning it out from the Kal V'chomer, from her father spitting on her. Okay, so then your Kal V'chomer works. At least we know that she had to be at mechutz lamachna for 7 days. Right, we can't go to 14 because of dayeh. But here, if we're going to say that you don't have the Kal V'chomer, so what are we going to be stuck with? Chatzi nezek and rishus hanizik. We know that already. So that means your Kal V'chomer is shot. So when your Kal V'chomer is shot, Reb Tarfon says we don't say dayoi. Right? Again, everybody agrees that it's chatzi nezek and rishus hanizik. Reb Tarfon saying, but from a Kal V'chomer, it should tell me that there should be nezek shalom in the rishus hanizik. So the Chacham is saying, well, dayoi. Reb Tarfon says if you say dayoi, there's no Kal V'chomer. Okay, so then Reb Tarfon says that's it. So if it would eliminate the Kal V'chomer, so then we don't say dayoi.
If the Yaakov, wouldn't the Kal V'chomer? Why couldn't you say similar to over there? What does the Kal V'chomer over there do? It gives her 7 days, correct? Meaning they were mifrach Kal V'chomer, and it went from nothing to 7 days, correct?
Correct.
So why can't you just say you're chayav chatzi nezek here? Because you'd anyways be mechayiv with that.
What do you mean? I don't understand what you're asking. Why are we chayav chatzi
Rav
nezek?
Tarfon Betzim holds a diet. So what? But when it's mifrach Kal V'chomer, it has to be able to do something, correct? The case over there is the ultimate diet, right? And there is a Kal V'chomer there as well, correct? So what did the diet? What did if Rav Tarfon holds it, you have to be able to apply Kal V'chomer, and diet can't knock out a Kal V'chomer. So what happens by the case of Miriam? There's a Kal V'chomer there also. So how does the Kal V'chomer work? If we say
because
diet?
there the Kal V'chomer was at least telling us 7 days.
Okay, so what about over here? The Kal V'chomer should just say chatzi nezek. It could at least tell us chatzi nezek. Why can't you apply the same sort?
Because chatzi
the
nezek we
Gemara
know
says.
already. We know.
Where do we know chatzi nezek from?
that we pay chatzi nezek?
Yeah.
Chatzu es kaspai.
Right, we're gonna get to that. I think on Amabez or yeah, from the pasuk.
It's even Bishus and Isaac.
Well,
It
that's
makes no
we're having
difference.
a machlokes. That we're having a machlokes. But yeah, I don't think it doesn't differentiate. The Gemara is going to say that. Either I think either on Amabez or tomorrow's daf it's going to say. I think tomorrow's daf it's going to say that. Anyways, okay. So let's see. So now we have a machlokes, Reb Tarfon and the Chachamim. What's going on with these psukim by Miriam? Whether we learn out daya or not. So Rabbanon shiva de shchina ksivi, right? Rabbanon say the shiva de shchina does say it, meaning Reb Tarfon saying it doesn't say anywhere that Miriam had to go out for 7 days. Rabbanon saying, what are you talking about? It does say it. Shiva de shchina ksivi, right? because it says what? Tisager Shivas Yamim. She should be locked up for 7 days. Isn't that beferish that she has to be locked up for 7 days? Okay, so what does Reb Tarfon do with that? Reb Tarfon, who Tisager the Dashinan Dayehu. That's exactly what it's coming to tell us. That it's it's Dayai, right? Meaning it's coming to teach us Dayai. Okay, Rabbanon Ksiv Krachrina. The Tisaga Miriam says a different possibility about Tisaga Miriam. So you don't. That's how you learn Dayai. That pasuk is coming to tell us that even in the rest of the cases in Torah we say Dayai. Dayai is not just by the Shechina with Miriam; it's anywhere in the Torah. And don't say here that the reason why we're saying Dayai and we're not going to put her Mechutz Lamachana for 14 days is because Moshe was fighting for her. So since Moshe was fighting for her, so we give in and we say Dayai. And you can only learn 7 days. But otherwise, for the rest of the Torah, we would go with it. Right? Right? But we don't say this rule of Daya by the rest of the Torah. Kamash Malon. So the Torah is telling us that we do say Daya by regular Kavachomas. Okay, fine. So that's basically it. So that's the Machlokes, the Reb Tarfon and the Chachamim, of whether we're going to learn Daya or not. According to everybody, if Daya is going to slug up the Kavachomer, then we don't say, not according to everybody. According to everybody, we say Daya when it's not going to eliminate the Kavachomer. And according to Reb Tarfon, we don't say Daya if it's going to eliminate the Kavachomer. I still don't understand, but it's no reason to ask my kashas over here. Who says it's a mitzvah to learn how to Kavachomer? Sounds like from this, Kavachomer is a given. Right? It's like a Kavachomer. Like you think like Kavachomer is a nice lumdus somebody comes up with, oh, Kavachomer, right? No. Sounds like Kavachomer, you have to learn it. If it's there, you have to learn it. Right? Okay, fine. So Amalei, now the Gemara goes through some cases where it seems like there are Tanaim that don't hold of Daya. Amalei Rapapa Labaya. V'hai Tana Deloy Dorish Daya. There is a Tana that doesn't darshan Daya. V'avagav Deloy Mirfa Kavachomer. Even if the Kavachomer won't be asked, won't be slugged up, he still doesn't learn Daya. Meaning, we're saying everybody holds of Daya, but here we have here we're going to have a shita that seems to not say Daya. The Tanya. So we need a little bit of Hakdama. So you have Tumas Keri, which is Tam anytime semen Zera comes out of a man, that's a Tumas Keri. Then you have Tumas Zov, which we said yesterday is like gonorrhea, which seems sort of some sort of disease. Right? So the question is, does a Zov also have Tumas Keri? Meaning a Zov, so he's locked up for 7 days, right? And everything that he touches and he carries and his saliva, any bodily fluids, they're all tameh. To lift it and to move it, touch it and to move it, right? But the question is, can on top of that, does his zera, his regular zera, keri, become tameh or not? Right? Maybe he's just a zav and that's it. So the Tanya keri bezaminai, and how do you know that there is tumas keri on a zav? V'dinu, and it's a makava chaymer, ma tahar b'tahar, tameh b'tameh. If you have something that's tahar when it comes out of a tahar, which is saliva. So saliva that comes out of a tahar is tahar. Tameh b'tameh, but saliva that comes out from somebody who's tameh zav, his saliva is tameh. So tameh b'tahar, something that comes out of a tahar, that's tameh, which is keri. Einay din sheyeh tameh b'tameh, then avada, there should be tumas keri on somebody that's tameh, right? And meaning, again, it's pretty straightforward. If saliva coming out of somebody who's tahar is tahar, and saliva coming out of somebody who's tameh is tameh, so keri, which comes out of somebody who's otherwise tahar, is tameh. So kol shekain, if the keri comes out of somebody who's tameh, that it should be tameh, right? Okay, that's a fair kavachomer. The kamaisila bein lamaga bein lamasa, and we're bringing it that it's going to become tameh not only for touching, but even just carrying, right? There's a chumrah by Zav, and Nida, we'll see, we'll see it on the top of the next Amid, that they have a special din that anything they carry, even if it's not touching it, is going to be Tomei. So we're saying here that that the Kal V'chomer works to aser touching and carrying, meaning normally carry is only aser to touch, right? But here we're going to say that the carry of a zav is also to touch and to carry. So now that's the question. That seems to be a dayai, right? Because if you're just learning it out from carry, it should be just also to touch, not to touch and to carry, right? For kamaisi la bein lamaga bein lamasa, we learn out from maga and masa. V'amai nema hani kavachimer lamaga. Why don't we just say the kavachimer works for maga, because that's what carry is. You're learning it out from carry, so you could learn out that there's tumas carry for a zav for touching, but to carry it, to bring it on to carrying, then that's too much, because carry, regular carry doesn't have that. So hani daya lafuke masa. So daya should tell you that the tumas carry of a, what do you call it, is tame. Only for touching, not carrying. That's what daya should tell you. So when I ask for chitem lamaga like it's kavachaimer, for maga I don't need a kavachaimer. The loy gara mi gavratar. It's no worse than a gavratar, right? Meaning, why would you need a pasuk for if a man whose tar becomes tame? So then culture can. It's richsakadai the chamina mikra laila ksiv. It says it's a mikra laila. Misha carry a garam lay. That's if his carry causes causes it to come out. Yotza zesh ain't carry a garam lay. Ela davaracha garam lay. Maybe the reason why he saw Tumas carry is not because stam of Tumas carry. He saw it because he was a zav, and that influenced him. Kamash malon. So therefore, the Kal V'chomer is telling you that we still say that it's the standard carry. Whatever it is, so we see that it seems like there's a Tana here that doesn't learn Daya, because the Tana learns that the Tumas carry for a Zav is Tome, Maga, and Masa. So when it says, Midi Deloy Dover Acher Ksiv, does it say, but nothing else in the Pasuk? Right? So it doesn't say that. So therefore, you don't need the Kal V'chomer. You don't need the Kal V'chomer to tell you that that there's regular tumas carry for zav. So if that's the case, then the reason why there's no daya, because then there's no Kal V'chomer, because then it's pashut, right? So the Montana, sending was the Montana Shamali the Amr Shichva Zera Shal Zav Matama Masa. Who is the Tana that says that Shichva Zera of a zav is taka tame with carrying? So Rebbe Lazar, Rebbe Yeshua. It's not Rebbe Lazar, not Rebbe Yeshua. The Tanan Shichva Zera Shal Zav, the Shichva Zera, meaning the carry of a Zav, Metame B'Maga, Ve'en Metame Masa. So it's clearly not him. He holds it's only Tame Maga, not Masa. Did Rebbe Lazar. Rebbe Yeshua, Aimer, Af Metame B'Masa. It's even Metame B'Masa, L'fi She'i Efsher B'Loi Tzich Tzuchei Ziva. Because it's not possible that there isn't a little bit of Ziva mixed in with the carry, so therefore it's also even in Masa, because carry, this Zav is Tomei B'Masa to carry. Again, carry is only Tomei for touching. Zav is Tomei touching and carrying. So he's saying that if this carry that comes out, there's also automatically going to be Zav coming out with it. Therefore, it's Tomei to both. So you see now he's L'chaira saying that there is Tuma Zav is to carry and to touch. So you have a Tana like that, but he says, no, Adkan like Rabbi Shua Hasam Elashi Shabbalai Tzutzuchi Ziva. The reason why he says that it's going to be Tomei to carry it, the carry, is because there's got to be Zav in it. Hal Lav Hachi. But let's say you knew scientifically that in this guy's carry there was no Zav whatsoever, then he'd be fine. Right? So Gemara says, right, so that can't be those two Tanaim. So who is the Tana that holds that there's no Tumas Masa? I'm sorry, who's the Tana hold that there is Tumas Masa even by the carry of a Zav? Elahai Tanu, the Tanan, Lamaila Mehen means it's discussing all sorts of Tumas, and then it says Lamaila Mehen on top of that, on Tamid Beis, it says Zayvai Shel Zav, meaning the higher level Tuma on Tamid Beis now. Yes, Zayvai Shel Zav is the liquid, this gonorrhea liquid that's of a zav, the roikoi and his saliva, shichva zaroi is carry, Umeme raglav is urine. V'dam hanida. All these have a very high level of tumah. Why? Because metam and bein b'maga bein b'masa, they become tame, whether you touch it or whether you carry it. Right? So I hopped right away. I didn't go. I hopped right away. I didn't go out. I didn't. The car shut off, so I guess the car doesn't sit unlimited.
I was
Sorry.
close enough. I said it died.
Oh, I hope it didn't die. Yeah, but anyway, I'm sorry. So anyway, so you see here that this Tana holds that carry is from a zav is tame even to carry. So Gemara 3 lines down. Maybe here too. Maybe the reason is because it's not possible without tzictuche ziva, and that's why it's tame. Meaning it's not possible to have carry of a zav without having some ziva in it. So Gemara answers im kain l'snai gabi zav. If you look at the order, it says zayve shel zav. Right on the top line, it says his whatever, his garia, then shikva zara. Right? Shouldn't you have said shikva zara after zayvai? If you're saying that the reason why shikva zara is also the cat, you can't even carry it, or it'll make you tame, shouldn't you put the two together? So why was Reich in the middle? Elamai has nothing to do with each other. Im can listen gabi zayvai. Why does it say his by his Reikoi? It's because we learned it out from his Reik, meaning the same way the liquid that comes out of the body by saliva is tummy, so too his shichva zera, the carry, is also tummy. Fine. Okay. Now we try a different Tana. So Amarle Rav Acham B'difti Ravina, sticking with the Tumah theme. We have another Tana who doesn't seem to darshan dai. Even if the Kavachimer won't be disproven, the Tanya. So
Yaakov,
yeah,
it's not. I mean, it's really not germane to this. But I was thinking about it this morning too. The big tumas are all have to do with death, and shikva zera is not death. It's the opposite that causes life. I mean, he came out in a bad spot now, but he's matam his wife also. So shikva zera is the opposite of nida. It's the opposite of a mace. It's the opposite. That's all.
Yeah, but when it's outside, it's shifcha. But then it's shafuk. Then its potential is gone.
No, he's matam his wife by Maisabiyu also. No.
All right, but Isha Paleta Shikva there is still it's Paleta, so that's why it's a tumor there.
Doesn't say all of it. It doesn't say all of it came out. Doesn't say all of it came out. She can still be pregnant already.
Mazel tov. You can ask a bigger kasha, but how does Roke fit into that general rule of where there's a potential for life? How does the spit fit in there?
Well, that's when men went and they was chewing tobacco, so they were spitting. It was talking about real men in Kachik, you know.
Okay, I'm muting myself now.
You're right. There's an interesting Indian that when there's tumah where there's life, right? I don't know if Rachamim meant that after 3 days there's no longer any tumah, right?
That's probably what he meant. Yeah.
Right. That's what you're saying, Rachamim. After 3 days, the zera that comes out from the woman is no longer matama because it can no longer give life.
Right, but the road becomes a kasha on that, except for Aaron's theory.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, okay. So now we're on to different tumah. Okay. So you have different tumahs in the Torah, wood and metal, but the pshute kliates is not tumah, right? So a mafetz, which is a what do you call it? A mat. Mat. So a mat is flat. It's just basically flat wood. So how do we know that it becomes tumas mace, right? So then also another din is that earthenware kli cheres cannot become tummy unless it goes from the inside, meaning if you touch a mace to the outside of a kli cheres, it's not going to come tummy. The mace has got to go inside the kli, right, to become tummy. So when the kli cheres is in the same building as a mace, so then everything becomes tummy because the tumas oil will go through the opening of the earthenware. But if the opening of the earthenware is very small, then it's not going to make Zav carrying the earthenware because he's only touching from the outside. It's not going to make it tummy unless something goes on the inside. So that's the background. Now we're going to start with Kal V'Chomers for this. Right? Pachim Ketanim is this week's Parsha, no? Isn't it?
No.
It is, right? Shows you where I'm holding.
No,
in
you
the Parsha.
won't know it till
Yes,
Friday
it is, it
night.
Friday night. Reb Dov is on. Right? It's Pachim Ketanim. I'm embarrassed to say it, but
this week, big time.
Okay, so there we go, Baruch Hashem. So, yeah, Pachim Ketanim that Yaakov Avinu went back to get. That's what we're referring to. It's not I mean, okay, we're talking about I guess it's the same Pachim Ketanim here, right? All right, the Tanya Mafetz b'meis.
Baby bottles.
Baby bottles.
Yeah, that's what Rabbeinu Bachya says, because it's not how is he allowed to be Pekirch Nefesh by going by himself, but he needed for the babies.
Taka? Interesting.
Yeah, it's Rabbeinu Bachya. I'm just giving you one sheet.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, okay. So the Tanya, Mafetz b'meis minayin. How do you know that a mat becomes
To the
tummy
ladies'
mace?
pump then also.
Yeah, it seems like, yeah.
wasn't but what the baby's mouth didn't have formula.
Taka, yeah. Maybe they had, just like we learned in Gittin, that Shlomo Melech had electric cars, so maybe they had electric pumps. Maybe they had electric pumps. Yeah. Anyways, okay, the Tanya Mafet's been mace minayin. So how do you know that a mat becomes tamei mace? The dinhu. So pachim ketanim, small, what do you call it? Jugs, or whatever, small bottles. Shetahirim bezav, they're tar by a zav again because the zav carries them. He can't make it tummy, and since they're small, the opening is very small, so there's no way to get his finger in there to make it tummy. Again, tummy kli cheres can only become tummy from the inside. So mapang v'tanam shetahirim bezav metame b'meis becomes tummy mace. So mafetz shemetame bezav anything sheitame b'meis. So a mat that does become tummy from a zav, if a zav sits on a mat, it becomes tummy, and it didn't sheitame b'meis. Shouldn't it become tummy mace, right? Fairly straightforward kavachaymer. Again, a pachin ketanim is tar by a zav and tummy by a mace. So something that is tummy by a zav, avada is going to be tummy by a mace. Okay, so what's wrong with that? The kamaisi law, bain l'tumas erev, bain l'tumas shiva. Because there's a difference in the tumah, right? Zav is tummy for that day. No, I'm sorry. Zav is not. Zav is tummy. What if it touches the zav? Right. Yeah, the zav is only tummy that day. Right. Touching the zav is only, or carrying is only tummy that day. Tumas mace, as we know, is 7 days. So now this mat, is it tummy for 7 days? Like any tumas mace, or since we're learning it out from zav, it's only tummy for 1 day. Right? So when I say bein l'tumas erev, bein l'tumas shiva, we're saying no, it's tummy for both. How can you say that? Ema, ahani kavachaymer l'tumas erev. The kavachaymer works for tumah from the evening, because we're learning it out from zav. Vahani dayai lafuke tumas shiva. And dayai will tell you, well, since you're only learning it out from zav, so zav only tells you that it's tummy till that night. Meaning, how are you learning out that a mat becomes tummy? Learning out from a zav. Okay, and a zav is tummy till when? Till that day. Right? So how can you go say, oh, a mat is tummy mace? We know it from zav, which is only tummy for 1 day, but we're going to say that the mat's tummy 7 days. Daya tells you can't do that. It's too far. You're extending it too far. Right? So
Wouldn't
yeah.
wouldn't saying daya in this case create a bigger chiddush than not saying daya? Everything that touches a mace has a process. It needs hazah, shlishi, v'shvi, and then tvila. That's the klal. The Torah says the rule. Anything that touches a mace or tamei mishum mace needs 7 days. Now we're saying, no. I found it because we're only learning with the kal v'chaymer. It should be not like anything else that's tamei mace. Wouldn't that be a bigger chiddush?
Okay, but is that what it's about? Chidushim?
That's the point of daya. You're learning too big a chiddush, so you can't learn such a big chiddush. Learn the small.
No, but it only extends.
Only
Right.
what extends? The kal v'chaymer would tell you everything.
Yeah, but it's
The
not also
daya tells you
chiddush. It's just saying you
big a
can only.
chiddush, so you have to narrow it down.
I don't think I didn't learn it like that. It's a bigger chiddush. I just learned that that's what the maximum. You can't extend it past its maximum.
It's Yaakov. They bavar this in
Yeah.
the Mishnah. Lagabe the second kal v'chomer that Reb Tarfon brings. That over there you're learning it out actually from Rego, which is Nezik Shalom, which is similar to what Gershon's asking. But Rashi says a lashon, and they switch the girsa. But Rashi said anything if the tzad chomer is what's being mechayev the Nezik Shalom, and the tzad chomer would only be mechayev b'chatzi Nezik. Viter, you could say dire and such a thing. Meaning even if it's just the tzad chomer that's bringing out the din. If the tzad chomer is the reason why you bring out this din, and it only has erev or chatzi Nezik, you can't learn more than that. Dire would even apply to such a concept. Besides the din of the tzad chomer din.
Right. Okay. I hear.
And that's the way that's what how Rashi's master like that on the Yom Aleph and the top of Yom Aleph. Dialogue Menadin is going to decipher Elav Karen Rishram Lem Shkachat Tzad Chomer. Rashi says.
Right. Okay, but I don't know if that's okay.
It's the same idea. The die over here is saying the Tzad Chomer is only Erev.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Very good. So again, the Gemara is saying we're learning out the tumah of a mat from the tumah of a zav. Tumah of a zav though is only that night. It's good. So the tumah of a mat should only go that night. That's what Daya should tell you. But this kal v'chomer says no. The tumah is for all 7 days. So Amarle, right? So you see that he doesn't subscribe to Daya. Amarle kfar Rama nehele Reb Nachman bar Zechariah l'Abaya. This kash was already asked. Right to Abaya. V'Amarle Abaya tana mimafetz b'sheretz ma'isila. He was learning it out from sheretz, right? How do you learn it out from sheretz? Mafetz b'sheretz minayin. How do you know that a mat that touches a sheretz is tamei? That tumah is also for 1 day. V'dinu, that's a kal v'chomer. Ma pachin ketanim shetahirim b'zav tameim b'sheretz. Pachin ketanim, like we said, is tar by a zav. It's tamei by a sheretz. Mafetz shetame b'zav ain't a din sheyetame b'sheretz, but a mafetz which is tame by a zav shouldn't be a kal v'chomer that it should be tame b'sheretz, right? So we're learning out the kal v'chomer to teach us that a mat becomes tame from a sheretz. Okay, so then the whole thing started with. How do we know that a mafetz becomes tamei mace? Okay, so ela mafetz b'mace minayin. How do you know there's a mafetz that's tamei mace? So nemar beged v'or b'sheretz. It says by sheretz, a beged, clothing, and leather can become tamei. V'nemar beged v'or b'mace, and it says clothing and leather by mace. Ma beged v'or omer b'sheretz mafetz tamei by beged and or that it says by sheretz, like we just learned out from the kal v'chomer, that it's also for that day. So mafetz is tamei on it. Af beged v'or homer b'meis mafetz tamei boy. The mafetz is tamei. So we're learning a kal v'chomer and then a gezerah shava, right? And that's how we get it that a mafetz becomes tamei mace, right? So then when it says mufna, then we have a different din. We've had this a couple of times. When you have a gezerah shava, so a legitimate gezerah shava is when the words from each parsha, in this case, the parsha of Tamei Sheretz and the parsha of Tamei Mace, the words are extra. So then you say that the reason why the Torah made these extra words was to learn out the Gzeira Shava. You could also have where one set of words is extra and the other set of words is not extra. So that's a machlokes. And then you could have a Gzeira Shava where none of the words are extra. Right? So Gemara is here saying that it's mufna, that it's meaning it's available. Diloi mufna equal ifrach, because and the reason why it has to be that it's extra, because otherwise you have a kasha that you can't compare it. Ma'ala sheretz shekain metame bekadosha. A sheretz is tame like the size of an adosha, which is tiny. A mace is not doesn't become tummy with an adosha. It only becomes tummy with a kizayis. Right? So you see that it has to be that the words are extra. And like this, you can't slug up the kal v'chomer by asking kashas. And then Gemara says, "Li, true, afnuye mufna, it is available. Because why? Michti sheretz is kishvazera. Sheretz, we can compare it again back to our shechva zera. Tichsiv ay isha shertetze. Right, if there's a man that zera comes at him, v'samachle ay isha sheyiga b'chal sheretz. You have a man that touches his sheretz. Uksiv baby shechva zera, and it says with shechva zera b'chal beged b'chal ara sheyiyah love shechva zera. It says any clothing or any leather that has the zera on it is going to become tamei, right? Beged v'ar the kosav rachmana b'sheretz lamali. So then why do I need beged v'ar by sheretz? Meaning we're already comparing sheretz to shechva zera. So why do I need it for shmami? No, lafnuye. It's extra to tell you that the word the beged and ar by sheretz are extra to learn how to gzeira shava. So then the Gemara says vakati mufna mitzad echad hu, but that's only one set of words is extra. What about the other set of words? Hanich lemandam mufna mitzad echad lemeidin me'mashiv and shaper. Mufna from one side, we learn and we don't answer, that's good. But according to Mandama that says you can learn out the Gzeira Shava, but you could ask kashas on it too, if it's not available, even on one end, then what are you going to say? So what I was going to say, no, the mace nami afnuya mufna, mace is also available. The word beged and ar by mace is also extra. Why? Michti, mace is shechva. Because a mace is also compared to shechva zera. Right? Before we said that Tumas Sheretz is compared to Shechva Zera, now we're comparing mace to Shechva Zera. The Siva Negeh B'chol Tami Nefesh. If you touch anybody that's Tame, Hayish Asher Teretz Mimenu, or a man that has Shechva Zera. Uksiv Bebe Shechva Zera B'chol Beged B'chol Ar. Ashi Allah B'Shechva Zera. So you see the pasuk is comparing mace to Shechva Zera. Beged V'Ar the Kosav Rachman b'Mace Lamali. So then why? Then you don't need Beged V'Ar by mace because you can learn it out from Shechva Zera. Shmami no lafnuye. Avi mufna mishnei tzad, and therefore beged and ar is extra by sheretz and it's extra by mace, and therefore that allows us to learn gzeira shava, and you can't ask any kashas on it. Right? That's it. So again, sheretz, we learn out beged and ar from shechva zera for sheretz and for tomei mace. Therefore, it leaves the beged and ar that it says by sheretz and the beged and ar that it says by misa, by death, by Tumas Mace, that leaves it available. Okay, now we're almost done. Yeah, and tomorrow till the first number also deals with Kal v'chomer. And now there's one other interesting machloikis. The machloikis is dain mina v'uke ba'asra. It sounds much more intimidating than it is. Or dain mina umina. I don't have PTSD from this, but it makes me nervous, I have to tell you. But
I don't even remember it.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, meaning when you learn out, this is similar to Dayai. I'm not exactly sure why it's different than Dayai, but there's a machlaikis that when you learn out a Kal v'chomer, right? I'm sorry, not a Kal v'chomer, Gzeira Shava. When you learn out from Gzeira Shava, that's why it's different than Dayai. Meaning this is the equivalent of Dayai, but for Gzeira Shava. Right? When we learn out of Kal v'chomer, right, we're saying that you can only learn out up until what you're trying to learn out, not more. So do we say the same about Gzeira Shava? Meaning, if we're learning something out from Gzeira Shava, do we say that it has to fit into the exact parameters of the Gzeira Shava, or can we even extend it to the thing that we're learning out? Right? So here, what are we doing? How are we learning out the Tumas Mace? That a mat becomes Tamei Mace. We're learning it out from Sheretz. Right? So if you're going to say that you learn it out from Sheretz, then it should become Tamei is for one day. Right? Or do you say no? You're learning it out to Tamei Mace. Now that you've said that we know that a mat becomes Tamei Mace, so then it takes on the standard of Tamei Mace, which is 7 days. It's the same thing as Daya, I think. We'll see what Gersh and Akiva have to say about that, but I think the lumdus of it is that it's the same. It's just the same rule, meaning how far can you extend the Gzera Shava? Right? You're learning one out from the other. Okay, so does it only take on the characteristics of the one you're learning it out from? Or do you say, no, it takes on the new characteristics? Again, if you would say that it only keeps the characteristics, which is mina, umina, so then the mat would only become tummy for 1 day. But if you say, dain mina uki ba'asr, and put it in its place, so then, okay, so now we know that a mat becomes tummy mace, so then it takes on the standard din of tummy mace, which is 7 days. So that's what the Gemara asks. Right? So then it works that we know that the mat becomes tummy for 7 days. You learn out from it, and it has to stay there. What are you going to say? So Marava, no, Omar Kra, the Chibastem Bigdechem B'Yom Hashvi. It says you have to wash your clothing on the 7th day. Kol Tumah Shatem Metamin B'Meis, Layu Pchusin Mishiva. Any Tumah that you Metamin Meis, there's never less than Shiva. So meaning now we have you're right. Theoretically, you would only say that the Tumah is for 1 day. But we have a pasuk that says anytime something becomes Tumah Meis, then it's automatic 7 days. So that's why. So therefore, you're always going to say that it's 7 days. Okay, we'll stop over there. Say some Tillim or one Tillim. Yeah.